from traveling so much around the state and realizing this is pre-Katrina, pre-Rita, pre-hurricanes, but traveling around the state so much, having represented it for so many years, both as a member of the legislature, as you all know, and then as state treasurer now, as 12 years in the Senate, being very, very familiar with all of our 64 parishes. I'm most certainly aware of all of our strengths and our weaknesses. I think we have many more strengths than weaknesses. I think we have many more positive spots than negative spots. One of the benefits of our state not having grown as quickly as other states, maybe parts of Texas come to mind, or South Florida, or South Carolina, or North Carolina, or Las Vegas, where up until just a little while ago, 5,000 people a week were moving in to that city. We did not have and have not experienced, except for maybe very small pockets, really extraordinary growth like that over the last 25 years. Now, there are exceptions. St. Tammany Parish, Livingston Parish, Ascension Parish has grown. Bossier Parish in North Louisiana is growing, or has grown at a rapid rate. But one of the benefits of not growing as fast is that we can kind of step back and see how we want to grow, not just paving over every tree or paving over every blade of grass or building interstates that are 16 lanes don't stay in traffic for 2 hours. We can look to see around the country what hasn't worked when the growth is too fast, or worse, not when it's fast, because we think growth is good. This is about a conference about growing, strengthening our economy, not about stunting growth or thwarting it. This is about 5 years ago, and started to reach out around the state to see what was going on in this regard, because I hadn't heard too much about it. The Baton Rouge Area Foundation was really the leading force in the state, primarily focused on the revitalization of Baton Rouge, which is going through a complete metamorphosis and complete transformation. And I know that you all are proud of our capital city, as I am, and those elected officials, all of us have had something to do with the transformation of that city. But it took a combination of smart public policy and then the private sector and the nonprofit sector to come together and transform downtown Baton Rouge, which is now, post-Katrina and Rita, the largest city in our state. But I witnessed and came to know more about, Lou Thomas is here representing the foundation and the center, came to figure out what the foundation had been doing regarding not only the transformation of downtown Baton Rouge, but sought it out to find out what its vision was for the rest of the state. And it didn't at that time have kind of a statewide vision. It was really focused in Baton Rouge. So I asked them if they wouldn't mind partnering with me to create a center for planning excellence that could be created that would help other cities like Alexandria, like Pineville, Shreveport, Bossier, even small communities like Delhi and Tallulah and Bogalusa. Think about ways that they could be better. I earmarked $500,000 to create the center. And out of that, and the work that the foundation has done, there have been conferences and meetings and planning meetings throughout the state. In fact, many of our universities, you'll hear from Steve Villavasso, who's really one of our leading experts. We might, not only do we have experts in our own state that go all over the country as requested speakers on this topic, but we have Paul Farmer, who's from Shreveport, who's the head of the planning agency or planning association for the whole country, and he's a Shreveport native. We have Louisianians well-placed in national positions of influence to affect the benefits of what is happening here, and you'll hear more from Steve later. But nonetheless, some of our universities, the University of New Orleans, Southeastern University, I'm trying to encourage where I can the University of Natchitoches, Northwestern, to be a part. I think that you all will know that one of the great assets we have here in central Louisiana is at Northwestern. We have the National Center for Historic Preservation Technologies, which Bennett Johnson, my predecessor, helped to create before he left, and we've been able to sustain it despite the fact that it's been cut from executive budgets over the last several years. Jim McCreary and I have been able to sustain funding for that center. But nonetheless, there are assets and there are experts right here in the state. And so I began to work very closely with the center, create the center and work with the foundation, and seeded the beginnings of what I hope will be a statewide reach, touching base with and having the universities use the expertise that they have to contribute. And again, you've been identified, I think, this morning with the concept of smart growth, but it's basically identifying the strengths that we have, whether they're urban communities or rural communities, the natural assets we have, the potential growth patterns of our population, and for the elected officials and civic leaders to spend just a little bit of time, on the front end. It doesn't take a lot of time, and it doesn't take a lot of money to do smart planning. Planning is basically dreaming. It's dreaming about the way you want things to be, the way you wish they would be, the way when you start with sometimes a blank canvas in an area that has the potential to grow and hasn't. Sometimes you have to start with terrible mistakes having been made and tear some things down or remodel some things to build it up again. But in Louisiana's case, because we haven't grown in that extraordinary rates like other places, I think we can take a breath right now and look at our state and think, how do we want this place to look in 20 years or 30 years? But more importantly than how it looks, how does it feel in 20 to 30 years? Is it an attractive place? Is it a place that's held its value? Is it a place that our grandchildren and great-grandchildren can not only stay and live and recreate, but work and make a lot of money? Is it a prestigious address? Is it a welcoming place? And so much of those answers right now are yes, but maybe not all of them, because we're Louisianians. We think this is the greatest place in the country to live. We recognize its shortcomings and its warts, but we think this is a wonderful place, and we know that collectively we can make it even better.